right, we're back another week. My co-host is joining back again. He had to go grab a bottle of water. Welcome back
Yes,
another
sir.
Saturday. Our Black Media, the Watchdogs. We got a long list of things covering a little bit of time. We got an hour today. I think, Julius, we're gonna have Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter to talk about this name calling that's going on, but we'll cover that later. But let's kind of cover the week. I know last night there was a candidate forum held by Litway Baptist Church. Reverend Smalls, who's one of my favorite. Jay Jones, another one of my favorites. How did that go?
Went pretty well. You had Labor Commissioner candidate Bodie showed up. Insurance Commissioner candidate Janice Laws Robinson. Um, she showed up. And what surprised me was Hemingway didn't show up, and she from Savannah.
Oh,
She's
okay.
the agriculture secretary candidate.
Right.
So that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah. And for you all who Nikita has been on the show before, we need to bring her back. Nikita is one of my favorites because she is a African American female, and she happens to be running for a seat that I don't think an African American has ever held in the state of Georgia, which is Agriculture Commission. And for folks who don't understand what Agriculture Commission is, they deal with everything agricultural, from fuel, so that means your gas that you put in your car, to the natural gas that comes in your home. So a number of things that the Agriculture Commission, groceries, all of that, anything dealing with your food, and yeah. So and what's important while we're on this topic is I encourage everyone to, from churches to nonprofits to neighborhood association leaders, to go over the different candidates with your constituents. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you vote for. I hope that you will vote for people that look like you and that hold your values. But you got to vote, and to vote intelligently means you need to understand what they're standing for. We all know that Stacey Abrams is running for governor. I think Stacey's in Huntsville today, right?
I don't know. I know a lot of people are here because they're in Liberty County, which is Hinesville, and then they're going to do something near Savannah, in Savannah, and then they're going to
Glenn County. Yeah,
Yeah,
Glenn County.
Glenn County, this afternoon for some type of barbecue or picnic or something. I don't know, but it's they're making their rounds, but they got to make them a little harder. They got to, it's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I don't, I hope I'm not misspeaking. I'm not sure if the same level of energy as there was 4 years ago.
It's definitely not the same level of energy.
Yeah.
And I blame that on the candidates. I can't blame it on anybody other than the candidates. Because it's their campaigns. They're letting people run these campaigns who don't have an idea of how to motivate people. And motivation is a big part of getting people out to go vote for you. You can't motivate them with your message. They're not going out there. They're going to take their time. You better not let it be raining or cold. They definitely ain't. So,
yeah.
It's got to get them motivated.
That's right. Someone's at this door. I'll be right back. But one thing I do want you to talk about, if you could cover, I don't know if B-Win was there, but what were some of the three highlighted areas that you took away from each candidate? Well, not each candidate, but overall. Each candidate, if you want.
You sound like a college professor. Just come on back when you come back.
All right. Give me one moment.
We had candidates from all over the state last night at Litway Baptist Church, and it was pretty informative. Wish it was, a little bit better attended, but it is what it is. People probably didn't want to come all the way out the Thunderbolt to see these candidates, and two didn't show. Alicia, seriously, she was sick, but she's in Savannah today. She couldn't make it last night. Her and her husband weren't feeling well, and but I don't know what happened to Hemingway. But and I really want people to hear from Nikita Hemingway. She's from Savannah, um, and she's running for agriculture commissioner, and I think she'll do a great job. It's just that she has to get um, out there to let the people see who she is.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
Bodie was pretty good. I like him. He's pretty good. He seems very sincere and want to change some things. So um, Bodie is a great candidate. You know, I one thing I don't understand, and I guess we'll talk about it after the election. Um, if Stacey wins, but we want to make sure that everybody vote down ballot. Vote
Yeah.
Democrat. Vote for Stacey. You need to vote for everybody else
Yeah.
on the Democratic ticket. You
Right.
know, to separate it. There's no need in looking at any of the other candidates
Right.
uh, on the other side because they're not for you. Um, and they're one thing I say about Republicans, they have no compassion. There's no compassion whatsoever. It's just their way of the highway, and it's only about those who have and those not those who need.
And many times with Republicans, and my father, I keep telling folks this, and he was right about it. You see it every day. Republicans are about big business, so about big money. And for most of us, especially those folks that look like us, we might be doing well, but last I looked, ain't too many of us that look brown or darker than whatever. Ain't too many of us carrying around $1 million. So if you ain't got $1 million, then you need to be voting as Democrats. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
that's
But
correct. It's only about the privilege. You ain't
yeah,
privileged. Stop thinking that. What I understand is uh, poor Caucasians who vote for people who don't hold their interests. You know, people who are trying to cut off their Social Security, people who are trying
yeah.
to cut off their welfare check, their food stamps, and you vote for these people. Donald Trump doesn't care anything about um, poor people. I don't understand how poor people could care about him. It's just befuddles me. I don't understand it.
Well,
You
and this is a topic that Teray is more skilled with, but Um, part of it in my theory is that a lot of some folks that don't look like us that might be of the white persuasion tend to just not want us to have positions of authority or power or whatever you want to call it. And so they would circumvent their own interests just to make sure that folks that look like us are not in those spaces. And that's unfortunate because at the end of the day, we as a people tend to advocate for folks who are disadvantaged or who have been marginalized historically, and so that's unfortunate. As we shift gears and kind of talk about, we got to start looking at next year. We know that next year is a very serious election locally for a lot of cities around the nation, and that you got commission races, you got city council races, and on Better Savannah, we had a conversation, myself, Chuck, and CJ, because I think we in this particular area have a serious decision to make as we look at city council.
Yeah, those are some big races that are coming up, and there's a lot that we have to do. We have to be united in making sure that we change that council again. We did a whole lot of work changing it um, to what it is now, and we're going to have a whole lot of work changing it back, not back, but changing it again to something better. Because some people betrayed us, some people lied to us, and deceived us. So we got our work cut out. They are entrenched now. They think that they're untouchable, but we have to show them that they are touchable and that we are coming for them. It's just part of what is about to happen. It ain't gonna be pretty. It's gonna get a little rough, but I'm sure that we will prevail in that.
And let me share this. This is something Alicia Miller Blakely says on her show, because we're about to have some tough conversations, and she says that if you hear something that you don't like, just pick up. Don't go around spreading rumors. Pick up the phone and call the person who says something you don't like. You might
Right.
just change their minds or your mind, however she says it. But what I'm saying is, I am going to call some names, and some names may be called, and you may not agree with it, and you don't have to agree with it. But call the show. We can put out some phone numbers. You can call into the show. You can um, call the person, call one of us if you don't like it. But you know, you go. I want to go back to the statement you said, Julius. You said there were some things people lie, and if you could kind of share what that means. I think I get it. Part of it is we have people, in my opinion, people who have gone into the office with the mindset of I am going to go in as a leader, meaning that I'm going to go in and represent the interests of a community versus going in and representing their own personal interests and or getting in spaces where people tend to buy their votes. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I don't know what you're seeing, what your interpretation of that was.
Well, some people don't even sell their vote; they just give it away. You
Mm-hmm.
know, pat on the back or get their vote. A good pat on the back, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy that you would be such a big advocate for the underserved, and then you get in office, and the only thing you're trying to give them is less than what they already had. You're trying to give them a McDonald's box. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to give them a trash can to put some trash in, or you're trying to give them a blanket. You know, people need more than that from you when you're giving everybody else everything. And you know, when you go and you lie and you tell all the things that you tell us all the things that you're going to do once you get there, and you see the corruption, you see everything that's happening that's bad and not happening in your neighborhood, and then you get there and you continue to let it happen without even saying a word. We got one council person, Dietrich Leggett, that doesn't even say a word until the news camera gets in front. He never says anything at City Hall, never. But he can say everything when he leaves. And they get him on. They do an interview with him. Um, but Dietrich was very, 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 very vocal and and engaged in the community and doing things and crying about what was happening at City Hall. Now he's a part of what has always been happening at City Hall. He got in and he just melted right into the soul of it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to point out the good work too, and I'm going to single out Bernetta, who's an alderwoman, and some folks, whether you like it or like her policy or not, or her direction, but she's coming from an area of West Savannah that has historically been ignored for years. And I talked about on Better Savannah, I talked about the flooding issue. Same thing here in District 5. It bothers me that if you go out to Berg, it's my understanding that out in the Berg area, they're working on flooding, even though that's county. I get it. I get it, folks. I get it because somebody ready to say that. At the end of the day, if you have grown up in Savannah and if you know about that West Side corridor that Van used to be alderman for, and for almost 20 years, and Bernetta's now fixing it, hopefully, and really digging her heels in and getting stuff done. Why is it that that area, West Savannah, has looked the same for well over 50 years? Why is it that West Savannah, all they've gotten in those 50 years is a paved street? And they, just like District 5, are dealing with flooding issues. And yet I have yet to hear about flooding issues in Ardsley Park, Habersham Woods, the landings, where there is water. I mean, I don't understand, but I do want to give a shout out to Bernetta, who is on the front lines of really being an advocate and being shunned for being an advocate.
Yeah, Bernetta's uh, she's laid back, smart. Um, she's not a get in your face type person, but she knows what the hell she's talking about. Um, and You have to take your hat off to her. They're trying to, from my sources in the West Side, they're trying to form a coup now to get rid of her. Um, that's the Vang group, all his people that support him out there are trying to get together to get rid of her, but it won't work because they're not big enough.
Well, look, and let me, and this is to the folks in that area. Okay. Last week, I don't know if y'all watch college football, but it is what it is. Last week, we saw a college football coach get fired. His name is Scott Frost. Scott Frost was fired as Nebraska's head coach because Scott Frost was not producing the results that the alumni base and the football team desired. How could you all continue to elevate a person who is your alderman and who's now this mayor? How could you all continue to elevate and promote and support someone who has failed and not produced the work? I don't get you all over in that district. So those of you all who are doing that, I ask you to question your motives. Is it about your own self? Is it about this my friend and I don't care how sorry he is, I'm going to support him? Is it about the fact that you don't see it and you don't care? But you really need to question your motives, because for someone who's been as an alder person for 20 years and has done name one thing he's done. Name one piece of legislation he's passed. Name one thing that he has advocated for that would make this community stronger, right? So I question the motives there. And you right on time, number 68. You're always with a great outfit. You always want to show up me and Julius. But great segue. We were talking about council, and one of the things that was disturbing to me this week, I was having a conversation with someone, and it's apparent, well, allegedly, a certain alderman wanted to do some name calling. And so, Julius, I'm going to let you tee that up with 68, and we're going to kind of segue to that.
Well, the best person to tee that off is 68, the next mayor of Savannah. We're going to fight hard to make sure that this happens, and we're going to fight hard to make sure that we get people who keep their promises. One thing we know about Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter is that she says it enough that you believe that she's going to do what she says, and that's why so many people follow her, because her conviction, the way that she says, the commitment, the amount of commitment that they see in her is displayed every day. It's about the people. It's not about her. You can't name one thing that's selfish that you can say that she's doing for herself. It's about the people. And those people that lied to us, that all rolled on the backs of all of this campaign to change City Hall, went there and they doing the same thing that they advocated against for 4 years. You had Dietrich and Linda advocating against it. We now we got people, and Van also, he's saying that it takes 5. Yeah, well, that it never was so true than it is now. It does take 5, and he got his 5. He got 6 now, and it takes 5 for you to make sure that the underserved stay underserved. It takes 5 for you to make sure that big business keep building generational wealth for themselves. And he was saying that to us in the African American community, he was telling us every day it takes 5 to get things done out here. Well, you got your 5 and you still ain't doing nothing. And
they ain't doing nothing about flooding.
He has to be held accountable for his lies. He has made promises and he has broken all of them. Alderwoman, it's on.
Oh, hello, Savannah, and hello, Watchdogs. It's a pleasure to be with you, albeit brief today. It's a busy Saturday for us here. Listen, I would much rather come to you and talk about the state of our city, where we are. Individuals are experiencing forced displacement. Many citizens of Savannah, people who were born here, who were raised here, went to school here, graduated here, work here, can no longer live here. They're being forced out of their homes. I would much rather talk to you about the fact that we have over 30 homicides to date here in the city of Savannah, and gun violence continuing to run rapid. Fortunately, with the shift in the new chief of police, we've seen some reduction in the area of gun violence on our streets, and we're so encouraged and happy about that. But all I could think about is the 2 years that were wasted and the lives that have been lost. I would much rather be sitting here talking to you about the need for this council to recognize that we need to roll the millage rate back and stop increasing the property taxes of the citizens of Savannah. So the next time I come back, I want to discuss with you all issues related to crime, from crime to the weeping time. We want to talk about the lack of our community's effort to preserve some of our most sainted properties, like the weeping time, like Yamakra. We saw what happened to the Bethel AME Church at Gwinnett in East Broad Street. We need to talk about preserving our past, but also how do we save our future? Those are the things that I want to discuss. Those are the things that I want to continue to use my platform for, as well as yours, so that we are helping educate our community. I think one of the things that the platforms like ATR, Better Savannah, and Unity Political Action Committee, what you all have done, you've raised the standard. You have created now a city where more citizens are engaged, more citizens are plugged in and paying attention to the political process. And we are very close to helping citizens take their rightful place in government. No longer can politicians sit idly by making people believe that they are being served when in fact they are not. I'll share with you this new revelation that I had as of late. When you look at our city, when you look at the landscape of the city of Savannah from districts 1 through 6, those of you who know the city, you can say without doubt that the most underserved, most impoverished, high in crime, high in poverty districts in our city are the 5th and the 1st. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then we look at our council and look at the people who are the longest tenured on council. They are individuals who once represented the 1st and an individual who now represents the 5th. Van Johnson and Estella Chabaz. And so you have to ask the question, if with time increases your talent, and if with time and your tenure, it increases your knowledge base and your ability to garner resources, why are these districts in this situation? So what I want people to know is that gaslighting is real, and it's real in politics, from city government, from our county government, as well as with our state government. And we now have to help individuals understand how, and understand that it's okay to hold politicians accountable. And so when we attend an event like last night, where candidates are showcasing their talents and asking for votes, and help asking the local folks to mobilize and engage people. You have Fair Fight asking us to help them understand how to get out the vote. Well, I'll tell you the best way to get citizens to vote in every election. The best way to get citizens to vote in every election is for them to feel like they have been served. People are not voting because they're not motivated to vote. People are not voting because they don't feel the results of their last vote. But I want to say to the citizens of Savannah and all citizens of America, and those who will be listening to the sound of my voice, I want to say to you, you can't give up. You have to stay the course. And in addition to not giving up, our everyday citizens need to give consideration to running for office, as well as keep the fight, keep standing the fight and holding us accountable. Now, because we don't have much time, I do want to answer your question related to council issues. Mr. Bryant, thank you for calling and inquiring about what happened. I deliberately have not mentioned this publicly and have not talked about it because it's getting old and it's really annoying. And I feel like the more you talk about an issue, you give energy to it, and it just makes the other person the subject of whatever space we're on. But for this particular instance, I didn't mind coming on because I recognize that it's more than just about me, right? The issue that I'm now having with Curtis Purtee in my mind, is a public health issue, and it's a public safety issue, because this is an individual who is a sworn police officer who carries a gun and a badge. And if this individual possesses the propensity to do and behave the way in which he has behaving as of late with me, I can only think of what he must be doing to those citizens and students who he is chartered to police. So the issues related to our work, as the sitting alderman of the city of Savannah at large, I garnered over 11,500 votes. I think Curtis Purtee may have scored 1,700 in the 6th district. I think if my numbers are correct, I probably got more votes in his district than he did. And so when I'm talking and when I'm giving voice to an issue, raising an issue or challenging whatever, or even supporting in some regard, I am constantly challenged by this individual with strong aggression. It goes beyond just a professional disagreement. His countenance changes, his voice changes, he turns red. He has a strong disdain for my mere showing up. My presence upsets him. And he has demonstrated that in his actions, in his words. The first act was he filed a bogus ethics complaint against me that was layered in lies. And from there, he told me to shut up. And after the past council meeting, he called me a ghetto bitch. And so at this point, I'm thinking, because he has not been held accountable, and the mayor is knowledgeable of all of these occurrences, when I merely mentioned that a person's actions were racist, I was voted out of council chair. But here you have this guy who has done and made all of these egregious comments toward me, and nothing is done to him. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm accustomed to being treated unfairly. I've dealt with that my entire life. But again, this is a police officer. And so what is it? Why am I beyond believing that he can't do more than what he's been doing on council? This is an individual who is connected. He has power. He has control. And so I want people who are listening to me to know that I personally feel that this individual is dangerous. And I'm confident that going forward, I'm hopeful that these issues will cease. I don't need an apology from him, but I think he needs to apologize to the public for the way he has conducted himself, and for the individuals who feel disrespected because of what he has done to me. And so going forward, that's essentially where I am with it. I do not intend to file an ethics complaint. As I stated, it's a colossal waste of the time of staff. It's a colossal waste of taxpayer dollars. In addition, it's one of those tools that is now being used as a political weapon that members of my council have used against me. And I don't want to go down that same road that they went down. I just don't want to do that. I'm going to take the high road. And I wrote a letter on August 24th after Curtis Purtee told me to shut up. I wrote a letter to the president of Georgia Southern, and I wrote a letter to the chief of police at Georgia Southern. And I basically wanted them to be aware, not just what he said to me, because I essentially dropped it after that, but someone brought to my attention that he made a post on Facebook. They screenshotted his post and sent it to me. And the post essentially acknowledged that, yes, he told me to shut up and that he would do it again. But the two issues I had with the post was that, one, he bragged about telling me to shut up. But two, the reason he gave for telling me to shut up was just simply untrue. So now you have a police officer who not only is behaving the way he is behaving, but he's also lying. And he's lying publicly. And so I thought if he was emboldened enough to tell me to shut up, and then bold enough to post it to Facebook, it was time to say something about it. So I crafted this letter on August 24th, but I decided after thinking about it and rereading it, I said, you know what? I don't have time for this. I'm just going to drop it. I kept the letter. And after Thursday's meeting, when he called me a ghetto bitch, I was moved to resurrect that letter and attach to it the new development and basically say to them, you need to look into this. You know, whether you send this guy to sensitivity training, whether you put it in his record, something needs to happen. And I'm sure that there are people who hear this and know this wouldn't want him policing them or policing their students. And so that's my position, guys. It's one of those circumstances where I feel like if I'm vying for the top job of this city, surely something like this shouldn't rattle me and shouldn't move me. I recognize that this is also a part of political warfare that we're dealing with here. So we're going to take the high road. I'm going to stay focused on serving the citizens of Savannah. And I'm going to not be deterred from winning this race that I have coming up in November 2023. It's going to be all about Savannah going forward.
And I want to look at this comment John made is so important to me. In that, you know, Van has no problems with these ugly comments. And the reason why that's resonating with me is you are a mother, you are a wife, and before we even get to public leadership, I have a black mother. My father has a black wife. And for another black male to not have an issue with this is alarming and concerning to me.
Yeah. And speaking
and
about the black male,
yeah.
he also made the comment to Alderwoman Blakely related to my husband. He stated in these words, he says, and that's why her husband sleeps with men. Yes, that's what Curtis Purtee said. And so it's so childish. And so when you talk about me being a wife and being a mother, when we signed up for this work, we knew what we were getting into. My husband and I, we sat down with my children and we recognized that this was going to be about Team Carter and that we all were going to be serving Savannah, just as in my nonprofit work. My children, my husband, they were all hands on deck at Interfaith Hospitality Network, now Family Promise. They were all hands on deck at the Rape Crisis Center. They were all hands on deck when I worked in the DA's office. So my work is my family's work. And you're right, Mr. Bryant, it does affect them as well, but we're built up the good stuff. We got it. We're Carter strong. Carter strong.
Well, no, I get it. It's just, I think it's concerning to me because for someone to feel like that was okay to say out loud is startling. I mean, we all have friends and we'll go behind doors with our friends and we'll joke and jive, but there's either mental health or something going on issue where you feel comfortable to tell someone that you know, I don't like you is one thing. I don't want to work with you is another thing. But to call somebody, are we in the 5th grade here or are we leading a city? Julius, what's your thoughts?
That's my thoughts exactly. There has to be some accountability. I know that the Alderwoman don't want to get them in any trouble. I mean, she don't want to cause a ruckus behind it.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to have a campaign to see that something is done to Purtee. I will personally take my campaign up in the next couple of months. It's going to be brutal. So, so you know, I don't know how we hold them accountable. If the council doesn't want to do anything and address this, the press doesn't want to even say anything about it. It's all being swept under the rug, and you can see that these people are who are fighting for the people are being blackballed and blacklisted. So we as a people, as a community, we need to get out and help them. It's going to take us.
And part of the thing
Well,
I
and
talk about give me one more, privilege and agency. And as an alumni of Georgia Southern University, I am personally going to reach out to the chief diversity officer who reports to the president and share this, because my biggest issue is I'm going to say, I'd be damned if you do this to a young black young sister at this institution, because that's when we're going to have a problem personally.
well, and he also works at Savannah State University as well. So then there's that. But as John stated in his comment, uh, you know, the true test of any leader is their staff or those who work with him and for him. And what you see demonstrated with our council, the dysfunction, the lack of interpersonal acumen, the ability for us to govern in harmony. Let's be clear. There is a reason why Joe Biden and Donald Trump do not get along. There is a reason why we do not get along on council. And the reason is we're not fighting for the same thing. We're not working toward the same goals. In addition, the rules have changed and the rules are not fair. And so the true test of any leader is the ability for him or her to garner those who work with him and around them to get the best out of those individuals. I can say to you that everybody on council has the ability to bring something to the table. Everyone has talent in their own right. If the leader could only harness that and pull us together. But there, from day one, there was a deliberate intent to separate us and to keep us confused and to keep us in disagreement, because that was the only way for this mayor to garner what it is that he wanted. And so we will talk more. You guys have me back and I'll tell you about this whole issue with the fairgrounds. When we
Oh, you went, I think you muted.
Dr. Shabazz and Van Johnson were racing to get their 5. Unbeknownst to us, they used us through manipulation and they used us through their political experience on council. And so now is essentially what you have. We have what we have, essentially what you guys see playing out today. And
Uh-oh. Well, you might want to give her a text real quick. Oh, there you are.
We have to keep the focus for these next couple of months that we have here. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. One of the sad things about it, and we told people early on, I know you're still with us, Alderwoman. We told people on that if you don't like what we said, call us or what have you, and we'll fix the issue if you don't like what you hear. But I'm going to go back to that fairgrounds thing, and I talked about this on Better Savannah. And in October, Julius, I think folks are going to know that the 5th District Alderwoman is going to be replaced next year. You heard it here first. And it's because I am so disturbed by the fact that not only did you botch the situation, not only was your speech baseless, not only did you use C. Craig Gordon, but you lied to these people. And this is a historic African-American community in Savannah, but you lied to these people and you talked about the poverty level of our senior citizens. And what the hell have you done for them? And then I looked at about a week ago, we have flooding. It was a heavy rain, but the flooding, even over there with Burnetta's district, the flooding has not been fixed for over 40 years. So what use of you are you? And I mean that across the board for certain leaders who have allowed Yamacraw to be torn down. And you lied to those people's faces, Deidre. For Linda, who's over there fighting folks and calling police on folks because of a low country ball. What value do you add to this council and to these citizens? It's time that we get some folks who really, and I'm not calling your names. I'm not here to do that. What I'm saying is I want you to really take a look in the mirror and think about, are you leading for yourself? Or are you leading for your constituents? Those are two very different things.
That is correct. I guess the Alderwoman left. She has an engagement that she already had prior to.
I'm actually still listening. I'm en route to a funeral.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we want to give you whatever support, and we are, because we believe in what you're doing. We believe that you're an advocate for the people. It's not about you. For some reason, those that came in at the same time that you did on this council think that it's about them, and it's about how they treat the rich. When you serve, you go to serve only so you can make things equal. Other than that, the rich will always run over the poor. So if you're in the position to make things better for everybody, it's about equity. It's about being equal on and fair to everybody when you get in these elected positions. It's not about making the rich richer, the poor poor. It's about making things better for everybody on every level. It's about building the city into something everybody can be proud of, where everybody can live comfortably and safely. And these people, for some reason, got it twisted. And when they get into flying on these jets with these big developers, and when they get the pat on the back, and there's nothing wrong if that developer is doing something in the community that is going to build wealth for everybody else, whether it's going to help everybody else. But when you see nothing to that fact, where they're helping the disenfranchised African American areas, the poor areas on the east side or the west side. Uh, I mean, what can you say except that they sold out? There's no other word for it. They can't even defend themselves. What can they say? That's why you got one council person. I don't think he said 20 words in 2.5 years, Dietrich. 20 words in 2.5 years. So you can't govern like that, and we can't allow these people to continue to to let the status quo run over us like they've always done for the
Well,
last years.
and you talk about equity and all of that. I want this mayor, and speaking on fairground and all across the board, I would like to start the fairground thing over. And number two, I would like to see a minority, if not a black owned developer, do that project. Period. I want this mayor to answer this. How many and the city manager, Jay Melder, this is a shout out to you. How many black developers, how many minority contractors, black contractors across the board, how many of them have been invited to participate on RFPs or anything that will help them have the equal access to contracts and things for the city? I want that question answered. And if that question can be answered, I'll be there next year. And I'm going to hold you accountable to that, because at the end of the day, we bring people from out of town to do things. We got talent right here. With this fairground thing, we got talent right here to develop that. Well, why have the people not been able to engage, and why haven't our people been able to get involved with the monetary benefits of participating in city work? That's unfair. That's not how we do business. That's not how we're going to do business going forward. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. I could see, well, I can't really see it any kind of way. There's no reason for anything that they're doing. The city of Savannah is built out. Is built out to where it can't be too much more building can be done. It's built out except for taking care of the areas, the outlying areas of Savannah, like the west side and East Savannah, and taking care of those in the Midtown over by Beach High School area, over by you.
Mhm.
But uh, when you're selling out and you're not thinking about how can I make life better for these people over there, that's a problem with me. That's a real problem with me. And then when you get people like Purtee, who lied to us and had us out there helping him because he sat in our face, sat there in me and Jay Jones and Charlie Brown face and talked to us and told us what kind of person he would be. But now you're all of a sudden, you can never get away from kissing this mayor's boots. It don't make sense. We want people to go there to be advocates for the people. We want people to go there to be their own person. How in the hell can you think that this mayor is right every time with everything that he's doing? There's no way. There's no way.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, talking about lying, this is for the Metropolitan Planning Commission, the county leaders, and the city leaders, especially the alderwoman. I am very concerned that you all are telling lies to Poplar Place. What's happening is they're redrawing the lines, and I am concerned that the residents of Poplar Place have been lied to. Now, and I want everybody, it's on paper. Go to Google and type in Savannah Chatham County redistricting. And it's very clear to me, maybe my eye, let me get my prescriptions checked today. But my eyes saw Poplar Place drawn out. And my theory is you want to get certain individuals who started the Fifth District Coalition out of the way. And I'm not going to sit here and when I see a foul, that's a foul. We want Poplar Place in the Fifth District. We're gonna keep Poplar Place in the Fifth District. And if you keep lying to them folk, we got something for you. But I'm not gonna sit here and allow them to keep telling these lies to these people. It is on paper. I dare anybody to go Google it and stop lying to them folks. I don't understand it. Same thing Deidre did with Yamacraw. You sat there and you lied to the people. At the end of the day, just be real with them. Hey, we're gonna redevelop. We don't like it, but this gives you a chance to go find something else. That lying stuff ain't cool. At the end of the day, sometimes we're going to have to deliver news that is not the most popular and news that we don't think is the best news. But tell these folk the truth, man. That's just that blows my mind.
And what all we do on all the platforms that we have is try to bring information here on this platform, on Better Savannah, on all the other shows that are connected to our black media and all things relevant media. All we do is try to bring you information. We know that the information is scarce because in our communities because they're not going to give us what we want to hear. They're not going to give us what we need to hear. They're only going to give us bits and pieces of the truth, and that's what the mainstream media does. That's their livelihood. That's how they make their living. So what we do here on these platforms is we try to be as informative as we can to let you know what's really happening, to let you make your own decision. Yes, we have opinions because our opinions are only for the betterment of our community and not to the detriment of it. And so, you don't have to listen to what we say. We're going to show it to you and let you make your own decision. And that's just the way that it should be. We're tired of what's going on in this county, and I'm not just saying in the city, in the county. We have some real bad issues, and we need to address a bunch of them. And the next two elections, I believe they will be addressed.
Yeah, that's another thing, John. I talked about this on Better Savannah Thursday. You all should go check that out. Well, everybody shouldn't check it out because they might get mad. But but I really have a problem with SCAD and the tourism industry having free reign to come down Montgomery. And as I talked about then, you're not going to take Fowler Park and Camp. The only way you'll get Fowler Park and Camp Park is if Adams comes and picks me up, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I just have a problem when you have people who have given them the key to the city. And another thing we got to start watching people is how they rezone. At the point of rezoning, someone has had a conversation about something that they can have. And that's very, 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 very scary because I'll never forget growing up, Mickey's liquor store right there on that corner and check cashing place right across from McDonald's. That was a cornerstone for our community. I mean, all of us don't drink, but certain icons in Black communities are what you look forward to. And for SCAD to have I mean, it's a nice building, but it's an eyesore at the edge of a Black community. It's an eyesore. It really makes you cringe to know that somebody somewhere felt comfortable enough to sell them the key to the city for probably little to no money. I bet you won't sell that fish shop right there on the edge of MLK and Victory Drive. I bet you won't do that.
Bobos?
No, Victory and MLK.
Oh, MLK and Victory.
I bet you won't sell that.
Yeah, they will. They will sell it. They will sell it. They will sell it now. As soon as the development comes that way, they're gonna sell it because they will sell.
It ain't too far away. Because if you know where the Midtown Police Precinct on Montgomery is, 2 steps down you have a high rise going up there. On the edge of Montgomery and Anderson, you got a high rise going up there across from Choose Market. So it's like it's a matter of time before they go over to Fraser Homes.
Yeah.
Like, come on, folks.
Yeah. Well, Fraser Home and Caton Homes is going to be gone. And you're right, John. Nothing said or done to preserve the Weeping Time site. I'm wondering who Dietrich and Linda is. I really don't understand them. You can't let this mayor. One thing I can say about Van, he's very persuasive when you get in front of him to talk to him. He's a persuasive being. He has this thing. He doesn't know anything about politics, but he knows how to persuade you. And now I'm talking about the outer part of politics. I'm talking about the inner workings because he didn't even think he was going to win. I had to assure him that he was going to win. He didn't think he was going to win. Every day he thought he was going to lose. But Van will persuade a person. And then he has Otis there being his new DuBois that will also help persuade. And I know that's what they did to Dietrich. Both of them got Dietrich in the room and they persuaded him. Because Dietrich used to call me every single night leading up to the election. Every single night for months leading up to the election, complaining about Van, talking about Van like a dog. Now he kisses his butt every day. And what changed that? What made this transformation from him being the citizen's advocate to Van's advocate?
Mm-hmm.
Van is real slick, John. Awesomely slick.
Well, and I
slick.
I want people to go back. I talked about this before. If you look at, I often compare this to make it, a little broader. If you look at Kasim Reed when he was mayor, Kasim Reed did the same thing. Well, while Kasim Reed was in office, Peachtree turned into New York City, turned into Broad Street, Wall Street. I mean, if you go to Atlanta now and you go down Peachtree, it's nothing but high rises. And the thing that irked me to the core, one thing about it, I thank God that I have resources not to be homeless. But there are people who are homeless, and there are people who are homeless who have mental issues. And for Kasim to displace them folk off of Pine Street, I get it. There's drug issues, I get it. But why not develop a space for them to go or identify resources so that they can, restore their lives? But you just threw them out to the wolves, and I have no respect for Kasim Reed. It's the same thing going on here. You're displacing people, and you have no solution for them. Now, you call me a socialist, whatever, but, at the end of the day, how would you feel if that was you? How would you feel if that was your family member? That's just, to me, I just think we got to do a better job of treating human beings like damn human beings. But with that, we're going to get out of here, Julius. I don't want Chris. Chris is our new boss. I don't want Chris to come get us. So we're going to see y'all next week. We'll be here, same time, same channel. Make sure you all are sharing. What's your final thoughts, Julius? And we're going to be out of here.
Well, the election is under 50 days away, and we need to get everybody motivated and understanding that your vote counts. We had 70,000 people that didn't vote in Chatham County last time. 70,000 people that didn't vote. You have to get out and vote. That's the only way you're going to make a difference. You can't complain if you don't vote. The only way we're going to change things is to be united for the same cause. That's
all right. And we're getting out of here. And guess what? The Dogs are up by 14 in the first quarter. So go Dogs. I'm going to watch the game. Y'all take care.
I like that. this. I like 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 this.